Hello and welcome to the introduction to the Google Admin Console for new Chrome OS Enterprise users. This session is designed for you to follow along within your own admin console. If you're watching this video as part of an organized event, there should be moderators in the chat who will be responding to your questions. So feel free to send them in and you should get a response as soon as possible. So what can you expect from this introduction? Firstly, we're going to take a look at the current Google ecosystem. Second, we will start looking at the admin console and take a look where to start with. Then, one of the first things you need to do within the admin console is to have the domain verified. After the domain verification, we can create organizational units. We will also create a user and enroll a device. And after the device is enrolled, we can add an app to the device. After that, we can also push some settings to the device. Although this training only covers the admin console from the perspective of Chrome OS, it is important to know that it is only the foundation of the Google ecosystem. Google Workspace products provide email management and productivity tools, while Google Cloud offers a wide range of business tools such as virtual machines, AI tools, and development environments. The admin console. The first thing that we're going to do is to reach the admin console. You can do this by going to admin.google.com. Log in with your username and password. And we're in. Before we are going through the admin console, the first thing I want to show you is the setup guide. This can come in handy if you're getting stuck in the process. You can go there to clicking on the devices, Chrome, and click on setup guide. Here you have all the steps how to set up console for the first time. I will give you an example. Here you will see 8 steps that you can go through, like a setup wizard. If we take a look at the first one, we can see how you can set up and structure your organizational units. Now let's go back to the home menu. Now we can start going through the admin console. The admin console has an intuitive interface that revolves around the side menu that can be minimized by the burger icon in the corner. Along the top is the search bar, where you can search for anything within the console, such as a function, or an entity, such as a user. Also along the top are alerts and tasks notifications. If you need to reach out to support, there is an AI help assistant. The admin console defaults to this homepage, which has useful links to common activities and subsections. Certain submenus have something similar called the overview with information and shortcuts. We will be going into more detail on some of the menus later, but briefly, the directory menu is where users, groups, and organizational units are managed. Devices is where hardware such as Chromebooks are managed. The Apps menu is where you manage additional Google applications that you may have purchased, mainly Google Workspace apps. Security has security settings, such as setting up two-step verification. Reporting is for all manner of monitoring, such as user activity reports and event logs. Billing tracks your subscriptions and payments. An account has some account settings, domain management, etc. If you purchase additional Google products from Google Workspace or Google Cloud, you may see additional side menus in your admin console. Domain verification. Domain verification is the process through which you will prove that you own your domain, that being your company web address. Verifying your domain allows you to get full access to the functionalities that Chrome Enterprise Upgrade has to offer, along with enhanced control over the user's lifecycle as well as permissions. To verify your domain, make sure that you are on the home page. Here you will see the Domains card. Click on Manage Domains to start. Here you can see we can get access to additional features in the admin console. And also, we can manage the users, settings, and data. Click on Verify Domain Ownership. In the following steps, you need to have access to your company's domain registrar. If you don't have access to that, please contact your domain or website administrator. If you click on or switch verification method, you will see three verification methods: automatic, create TXT record, or create CNAME record. For this example, we will use automatic activation. Click on Sign in to verify. Verification complete. We have now verified that we are the owner of the domain. To proceed, click on Confirm Verification. Now you should see that your primary domain is added in the Manage Domains section. Organizational units. This training assumes that you are starting from scratch with a fresh admin console, and the first task that a new admin needs to understand is setting up organizational units, or OUs for short. These are found in the directory menu under Organizational Units. Click on Directory, Organizational Units. Organizational units are the primary way by which entities, such as users or devices, are grouped together for management and settings. With almost any change an administrator will make within the admin console, the first question that needs to be asked is, am I making these changes in the right OU? An admin console will start with a single root OU, which can be renamed but cannot be deleted. In this demo environment, the root OU is already created under the name SYNNEX demo. But to give an example how to create one, click on Create Organizational Unit at the top. Give your root OU a name and click on Create. Since I have already done this, I will click on Cancel. Organizational units are arranged in a nested hierarchical directory structure where any OU can be the parent to multiple sub-OUs. To the right are buttons for creating a sub-OU, moving the organizational unit, edit the name, or delete the OU. We will cover settings in more details later, but it's important to know that organizational units inherit settings from all OUs that are higher than them in the structure. When a sub-OU is created, settings are copied from the parent, and any change to a setting will cascade to all downstream OUs. Ultimately, the structure of the OUs is up to you and what makes sense for your organization, but best practice would suggest 3 primary OUs, one for admins, one for devices, and one for users. Devices can be subdivided into major subgroups such as kiosks, signs, guest devices, and user workstations. While users can mimic your departmental structure or regional structure if you have different offices. At the far end of your structure is where you can set up exceptions. For example, under marketing, I have created a social media OU just for one person who needs YouTube and Facebook unblocked. Because OUs can have both users and devices in the same OU, you can manage your user workstations in the same place as staff. So for example, this sales OU could contain sales staff as users, as well as Chromebooks assigned to them. If that seems confusing, it's fine to keep them separate. For example, here, under Devices, User Workstations, I have different Chromebook builds depending on people's needs, and no user entities. Users. Now that we have organizational units, let's add some users. Users are managed under Directory and Users. As with almost all activities, we first check that we are in the right OU. Following the best practice, you should place a new user in the Users OU. But for this example, I will add a new user in the root OU. Click on Add New User. Give the new user a first name and a last name. Give it a primary username. This will be at the domain of the admin console. If you want, you could add an existing email address so that the new user can receive initial sign-in instructions. Click the Manage Users Passwords drop-down. Here you can add a corporate profile photo and double-check the OU. Click Add New User. The user is now added. Click on Done. After a refresh, you should see that the new user has appeared. You can also add users in bulk from a CSV file by clicking on Bulk Update Users and following the instructions. Once you have added users, you can manage them from the list inside their OU. For example, check their status, reset the password, and if you go to more options, you can suspend the user, delete the user, or even change the organizational unit. For more precise management, you can click on the username to see more details. For example, here we see some information about security. Here we can assign admin roles, manage apps and devices. For IT and help desk staff, it is important to assign an admin role. Click on Assign Roles. Here you will see pre-built roles for administrators. The super admin role is the most powerful one, as this role has all the privileges that there are available. When you scroll down, you will see an overview of all the privileges and which ones are assigned to this user. Devices. Next, we will enroll a Chrome OS Enterprise device, but first we need to check that there is a license available for the device. In the side menu of the admin console, click on Devices, then Chrome, then Devices. If you see a Terms of Service pop-up, click I accept. At the top, you should see a link called Upgrades, so click on it. This gives you a summary of your current licenses, including if they are assigned or unassigned. The unassigned licenses are the ones available to enroll new Chrome OS devices. If there are no unassigned licenses, contact your reseller to purchase more, or sign up for the Chrome Enterprise Upgrade free trial, which you should find from a Google search for Chrome Enterprise free trial. To enroll new devices, it will be logical to go to Enroll at the top of the screen. However, this leads to instructions on various methods of enrollment. For new Chrome users, it is best to use manual enrollment, which is done from the Chrome device itself. Here we are on a fresh Chrome OS device. Click on Get Started. First, we need to make sure that we are connected to the internet. When you're done, click on Next. This step is very important for the enterprise enrollment process. If you or the user does not choose for device enrollment at the bottom or the option for work or school, then the device will enroll into an unmanaged personal device for that user, and it will need to be wiped to start the enrollment from scratch. The quickest way to enroll the device is to click on Device Enrollment at the bottom, or press Ctrl-Alt-E. Then you should see this screen. Let's go back to take a look at the enrollment process from the user standpoint. Choose For Work or School and click on Next. Click on Enroll the device and click on Next. Now put in the email address from the user that we just created and click on Next. Fill in the password and click on Enroll Enterprise Device. Click on it again and click on Done. Notice at the bottom that this Chrome OS device is now managed by the super admin. Now fill in the email address and password and click on Next. All the user apps and settings will now be synchronized to the Chrome OS device. Click on Accept and Continue. Choose your preferences and click on Next. Now the enterprise enrollment is complete and the device is ready to be used. Now let's go back to the admin console. Newly enrolled devices will appear in the root OU of your organization. Still in the Devices Chrome Devices menu, click on the root OU to see any new devices that require your attention. Now that we have enrolled a device, let's look at how we manage those devices. In this Devices submenu, any OU that has devices assigned to it will show those devices in a list with some details. If you can't see all the columns, you can minimize the side panel and side menu to get more space. You can also manage the columns from the gear icon to the right. Click on the gear. For organizations with lots of user devices, we recommend moving the user column higher in the list so that it's more visible. And click Save. Hovering over a device in the list will bring up an action menu to the right. Click on the three dots. Here you can quickly move, reboot, reset, disable, or deprovision a device. Clicking on the serial number of a device in the list will bring up more information, including hardware information and ID numbers, user activities, and recent events. The same action menu items are available to the left, but with the addition of remote desktop access and changing the device upgrade license. We are still looking at the new device that was enrolled, so we need to move it to the right OU. Hopefully, the user of the device or the other information on display will be enough to work out where the device belongs. Click on Move. Move it to the device's OU. In this example, I will go even further and use the User Workstation OU. Next, click on Move. All the settings and apps assigned to this new OU will be enforced on the device as soon as it reboots. Let's go back to the overview and let's see if the device is placed in the right OU. And there it is. Apps. With the device enrolled and in the right organizational unit, let's provision some apps for the users. Remember that the primary apps menu on the left is where you manage what apps you have purchased from Google. But we are managing apps on devices, so we need to go to Devices, Chrome, and Apps and Extensions. We are going to take a simple example of a user app, which we will add to the Users and Browser section. To add an app to devices in this OU, click on the yellow plus button on the bottom right. This gives us the option to add apps from 4 sources. Starting from the bottom, we have Chrome Web Store, Google Play, Chrome App or Extensions by ID, and finally by URL, which is a powerful option to add almost any website or progressive web app as an application on your devices. For this example, I will go to the Chrome Web Store. For example, let's search for Google Forms. Find the app, click on it, and click on Select. Once it is in the list, we can click on the app to open the side panel. Here, we can delete the app from the list, go back to the App Stores page, and change various installation policies. In the first drop-down, we have the options to force install plus pin to Chrome OS taskbar, force install, and allow install. We also have the option to block this app in this OU, as a simple way to restrict access rather than allowing access. Because we are setting up a sales device, I'm going to choose force install and pin. Now don't forget to save. Now, when the salesperson reboots their Chrome OS device, the app will be installed and pinned, ready for them to use. Settings. Settings can be found in a number of places around the admin console. For example, Global Account Settings under Account, Security Setting under Security, including the ever important two-step verification. But the setting we will focus on here are called Policies, and they are found under Devices, Chrome, Settings. Now here we can configure policies or settings in 3 different ways: by user, device, and manage guest session. For now, let's focus on the user and browser settings. You can see here that there's a long list of settings that you can configure. For this example, let's change the wallpaper for the device. Click on Custom Wallpaper. Upload an image file by clicking on Upload. When the file is uploaded, you can preview the image by clicking on View. When it's looking good, you can save it. Now let's switch over to the Chrome OS device and have a look. And there you have it. The wallpaper setting has been pushed to the device. Now that we are done, let's wrap up with a recap. We talked about the current Google ecosystem, how to navigate the admin console and where to find the setup guide. We set up the primary domain. We talked about the best practices of creating organizational units. We created a user, enrolled a device, and configured apps and settings for the Chrome OS device. And that brings us to the end of this workshop. We hope you find it helpful and interesting. This session will still be available on demand, so you can come back and watch it at any time. For further support, please remember to visit the Help Center at support.google.com/Chrome. Or you can open the support chat directly on the admin console by clicking on the icon in the top right corner. Please take a moment to complete the feedback form that you see on screen, as that will help us in future sessions. We want to thank you again for joining us today. Goodbye!